Okay. So I would like to show you the preliminary results of a rather simple study, but one with quite unique sample because we tested politicians and active members of political parties. As you know, political deception, according to studies, is often used as a strategy, political strategy, and it has a long-standing history dating back to, I don't know, ancient Greece. We can read about this in Plato's work, for example. It is not surprising then that politicians are considered to lie very often and are also least trusted profession throughout the world. And this is supported by some surveys, for example, the one conducted last year by Ipsos in about 28 countries, where politicians and government ministers were at the very bottom of the list of different professions in terms of how much they are trusted. The extent of political deception nowadays is often confirmed by fact-checking organizations which analyze and list all the untruths of political leaders. We also have now some insight into the language of politicians' lies and can, to some extent, predict their veracity based on the content of their statements or even the social media communications. However, we don't know much about politicians' abilities to detect lies or to assess veracity of others. You may wonder, why could this ability be any different in politicians than in general population? Previous studies revealed that people who are more successful in producing lies are also more accurate in detecting deception in others. For example, in one study, participants who could accurately detect lies were able to produce statements that other participants found difficult to classify as deceptive or truthful. Also, in another study, participants who were better at cheating without being caught in deception game were also better in detecting other players' cheats. Another study showed that people who cheated on their romantic partners were also better at detecting infidelity than other people who did not cheat on their partners. And finally, there was also a study which showed that lying participants detected more manipulations in their alibis than truthful participants. We know that also that frequent use of deception may result in low trust and increased suspicion. And our previous studies showed also that people who have higher social power over others also were more accurate than control group in lie detection, but not in truth detection. And we may assume that at least some of the politicians would feel more power over others than an average citizen, average person. So the goal of this study was to test politicians' abilities to verify veracity of others and to compare it with the control group of non-politicians. We predicted that politicians could manifest lower truth bias or even maybe low lie bias and be better in lie detection than in the truth detection. There are also studies that show that source credibility is assessed higher if information, even the false information, is more believable when it is in accordance with recipients' political views or his or hers ethical reasoning. So we had also some kind of explorative goal in this study and wanted to test if congruency of attitudes between senders and observers would influence the veracity assessment accuracy of observers. To do so, we recruited 92 Polish politicians actively involved in nation level, regional level, and party level political decision making. The majority of them were members of the lower house of Polish parliament, which is main legislative body in Poland. At the time of the study, or they were members of this house in the past. A few of the politicians were also at some point government ministers or occupied other roles in Polish national government. We even had one former prime minister in our sample. We also tested, of course, a control group consisting of individuals who were not members of any political party and did not fulfill any public functions, any real public functions in the past or at the time of the study, but matched politicians in terms of, for example, age. Both groups watched 10 videos containing short interviews concerning opinions on social political issues like abortion ban or marijuana legalization. So after watching this each video, both groups assessed senders' truthfulness and their judgment confidence. We also tried to compose the sets so that later we could compute different kinds of accuracy rates for detection accuracy rates. For example, as we call it, we wanted to compute the rate of detection of so-called liberal lies, when that is when a liberal opinion is expressed, but by the sender, while their real opinion is conservative, or liberal truths when one truthfully expressed liberal opinion, or conservative lies when a conservative opinion is expressed, while the real opinion of the sender was rather liberal, and the conservative truths when one truthfully expressed conservative opinion. We also used a questionnaire of knowledge about cues to deception and computed accuracy rate for this too, based on previous studies on cues to deception. Participants, of course, also answered several demographic questions, including questions of whether they were rather liberal or left-wing or conservative right-wing. And they also answered the questions about their own opinions about these three topics discussed in the videos. They also were asked about history of their public functions and the social power they felt. The mixed ANOVA revealed that, as usual, truth detection was in general better than lie detection. However, there was no main effect of a group. The interaction effect showed that politicians were less accurate than the control group in truth detection, but they were only slightly better in lie detection. There was no difference in overall accuracy. Truth bias comparison showed that it was only visible in the control group and not in the politicians group. That is, only in the control group it was significantly higher than the chance level. We also wanted to verify whether group political views, that mean if a person was rather liberal or conservative, and accuracy of beliefs about cues to deception predicted veracity assessment accuracy and truth bias. And we tested, to do so, we tested a series of regression models with different kinds of detection accuracy rates and truth bias as dependent variables. And the regression was conducted separately for each detection rate. So for truth detection, lie detection, this liberal lie, and so on. And it was conducted each time in two steps. First, without interactions, and second, including interactions. Here you can see step one, so the regression without interaction, and the effects, the predictors in bold are the accuracy rates in bold are significant. Although these effects are not very strong, I have to admit it first. We revealed several significant mean differences for the group predictor. These are for the differences between control group and the politicians group. And what we can see here is that being a politician was negatively associated with truth detection rates, all the truth detection rates, and with the truth bias, but positively related to lie detection and liberal lie detection. We may say that the truth detection accuracy of an average politician was, for example, 14% lower than the same accuracy rate of the control group member. The accuracy of beliefs about cues to deception was not significantly associated with any detection rate, so I won't waste time for this data. But as for political views as a predictor, it was revealed that being more left-wing was significantly associated with only with better truth detection and liberal truth detection. As for this second step of regression analysis, none of the regression models with interactions were significant. So for this predictor, so we tested, we checked if how many participants we would need to make it the effects more stronger, and it was over 1,000 participants. So it's obvious we can't have such a large sample with this specific group. So as I said, these are preliminary results. We have a few more predictors to consider in these regressions, such as subjective power and more detailed questions about political views. However, the present results revealed that the average citizen is better than a politician in truth detection, or maybe I should say that politicians are less accurate than the control group in truth detection, and they don't show truth bias. They are also better than chance in lie detection. This could be a consequence of, for example, increased suspicion in politicians group, which on the other hand could be a result of rather deceptive environment they work in, and probably their, I don't know, cynicism, as we know from previous studies in other domains that liars tend to judge victims of their lies as being less honest. So I think that is all for now. Thank you very much, and I will try to stop